The breaking news coming out of the paddock as Formula 1 arrived in Suzuka was that there is some drama with regards to Porsche, and Mercedes, Red Bull and McLaren have all protested against the team as these teams believe that Porsche's car was illegal and that they have avoided action for this. So what is it that these three teams are protesting about? Well, all of the teams believe that with regards to Porsche, that they were doing something with their brakes as on the front and also on the rear, not only to control the airflow better, but also with regards to the tyre temps. Now, the F1 governing body has put in a lot of measures with regards to teams using the brakes as aerodynamic areas as well as tyre temperature areas, but they believe these teams that Porsche went over the odds with what you could do in this area, and they believe that they've avoided action and been let off, and that is the reason why they think that Porsche have suddenly dropped back down the order. Of course, Porsche dominated the season last year, but as things stand at the start of this season, only from the first race we have to take into consideration that Porsche are indeed struggling. They've been struggling a lot with the balance on the car, and they've definitely been a bit more unsettled. We don't have any comments yet from Porsche in terms of this protest so far, but it's quite clear that Mercedes, Red Bull and McLaren are starting to make things very serious and are trying to get answers from the F1 governing body. Taking a look at the race news heading into the weekend, it was McLaren that set the pace here in Japan with some very quick runs, not only in the qualifying simulations, but their race pace was extremely impressive, and right now teams believe that the team to beat is going to be McLaren. But there is one particular team that's not ruling themselves out of the mix just yet, and that is Mercedes-Benz. They feel like they are very much in the mix, in particular with Valtteri Bottas, who seems to have got his setup right on point, but Porsche are way off it again. Ferrari are another team having a couple of issues going into the weekend. They've got some balance issues that they're trying to work on. Their car seems to be working quite well in the medium speed corners, which is helping them in Sector 1, but they're struggling a lot in the slow speed corners. A team that's definitely struggling in the first sector is Renault. They're not happy with their car in the first sector. They seem to be having decent performance in those areas with regards to balance control, but when it comes to heavy direction changes, which is what the S sector provides, then the car becomes unstable. And finally, BMW are feeling confident going into the weekend that they could potentially get themselves in the mix for the points, with both Hadjar and Russell happy with how their car is performing at this stage of the weekend. But let's get straight into qualifying and the race for the Japanese Grand Prix. Yo, what's going on guys, it is Foxydude here and welcome back to a brand new video, another episode of the F1 journey for you guys today here on the channel. It's the Japanese Grand Prix. If you guys end up enjoying today's video, feel free to drop it a like and subscribe if you're new around here as well, to show some love and support for the channel. It goes a long way and it doesn't cost you a penny to subscribe. Right, let's get straight into things then, and it's qualifying for the Japanese Grand Prix, a track that traditionally I'm very poor at, and that final chicane kind of sums that up, because that's not how you want to be taking the final chicane to maximise your time and performance. We did set a purple second sector, but in general we were way off the pace on that lap, so it kind of went nowhere. I did try and go back out on the same run again, just to try and get a bit more of a performance boost for myself, but all I did was take a massive confidence hit, because through this up the curve there, I did not have it under control at all. The Dunlop curve, there we go, I know I get there at the end, but we're going to go and try and get at it again then. So here we go then, down onto the start finish straight, then hot lap enabled, and then the DRS wide open down the straight here, going towards the first set of corners, now activating a little bit of the battery as we go down in towards the first few corners then. So here we go, let's see how we can get the car turned in. A couple of bites at the cherry on that occasion, but we're just about matching where we were before. Now in towards this S section here, we get a little bit too much though on the first set of curves. It's a horrible run through the S's there. One curb that you get wrong and you're completely out of it, and then a whole bunch of understeer, get caught on the curb, and it's going to be, well, no lap available for us to even set, and it's a horrible qualifying session here in Suzuka. The first run was just slow, the second run saw us going into the wall, and this third run here just got the S section all wrong, and then massive understeer from Dunlop curb, and we're starting stone dead last. With qualifying done and dusted, let's go and have a look and see what the grid is looking like for the Japanese Grand Prix. Oscar Piastri starts on pole position for McLaren. A 123.285 was enough for the Aussie to get pole position here at Suzuka. Valtteri Bottas splits the two McLarens on the grid. He starts on the front row 4/100ths of a second behind Piastri, while Leclerc starts third, just under a 10th of a second behind his teammate. Next up is Lando Norris. The pole sitter from the last round starts in 4th with Sam qualifying in P5 for the best place Ferrari and a much improved session for him. Nico Hülkenberg is the one that's carrying Renault this time around as he's just under 0.2 of a second off pole position, while Pierre Gasly puts in a good session to qualify just a 10th behind his teammate and start P7. Isaac Hadjar puts in a great qualifying session for BMW. He starts P8, while Max Verstappen shows that Audi do have signs of improvement, starting 9th place for Audi. Antonelli starts P10 for Mercedes, but still half a second behind his teammate, and it's the same half a second back between Lewis Hamilton and his teammate Sam. Hamilton, of course, started on the front row last time around. This time, he's only got P11 to say for his efforts. Daniel Ricciardo is the best placed Jaguar driver, starting in P12, with Oliver Behrman in 13th for Audi, and a little bit for Aston Martin, with Red Bull in that Aston Martin sandwich is actually Vettel, not Red Bull. He is 8/10 behind, with Liam Lawson then in P15. Restarts 16th for the best placed Porsche driver, all the way down in 16th with Albon 17th for Jaguar. Sainz starts in 18th, 1.3 off a pole, with Russell a disappointing P19, and we're starting all the way down in P20, 1.9 seconds off a pole, and it's a long fight towards the points for both Porsche drivers.
Radio check, please.
Right then, it's time to race, and it's going to be a two-stop strategy for us in this Grand Prix. Softs, medium, medium. So let's see how we can get on. From the back of the grid, we've got nothing to lose, really, because, well, we'll just end up in the same place. So here we go then, on at the start line now. The 5 lights are on, and they are off, so the race is on. It's, another lackluster start for us, as we tend to get in these Formula 1 Grand Prix, but now we can just set ourselves in and see where we want to attack going in towards turns 1 and 2. Braking a little bit late going in towards turn 1, but setting ourselves down and staying in position. We're getting a brilliant drive. Oh, so close there to trying to maximize that at the exit there of turn 2. Great drivers. We've got the S section now, a little bit unsettled onto the curb as we make our way now through the remainder of the S section. Contact there with Carlos Sainz multiple times actually in that fight, but we get away with it in the end as we now make our way through the Dunlop curb, heading towards the Degners. More contact is made there. This time it's Liam Lawson that goes into our pathway, but we get past Lawson. Next up the road is George Russell to make a move as we head down towards the hairpin now. This is where we're going to have a good opportunity with the cars bunched up to go for a couple of places down in towards the hairpin, and we do just that, but this time around playing it a little bit cautiously and just going for the one move there. There we go, overtaking George Russell. Now we're going to use the overspeed of the battery and blast our way past the Jaguar driver, and that is yet another place in the books now into 16th place in this Grand Prix, and just in front of us is our teammate Reese, who's made up 1 place off the start here as we now accelerate down the straight here towards 130R. What's our straight line speed like in comparison to the rest? Well, this is where the AIs are certainly dumping their batteries on this section of the track here, because we're not really catching up. So we're just going to use that though and head down in towards the final chicane here and get ourselves right up close with the drivers in front. And at that point now, as you can see, it's actually Bottas then that's leading this Grand Prix. As for us though, we're down in 16th place, but it's a good start to get 4 places off the line. Now it's about settling in, getting a routine and a rhythm, and seeing if we've got some pace in this Japanese Grand Prix. Having a look at the start though, let's see how everyone else got along though. So as the lights go out here, it's actually a very good start there from Bottas, and Piastri doesn't really do anything to react to that attack there. As we look up with ourselves here at the back here, we basically just settle ourselves in, wait to the exit of turn 2, and then when they all pile up on that exit, we then use the inside line. This is what Bottas' start looked like, and you cannot complain with it. It's a brilliant start, fantastic getaway, great second phase of the start. He's got control of the middle of the track, and there you go. Bottas leads the Japanese Grand Prix, and that's how he's done it. With a brilliant start, no one's touching him. Now we're going to look on board with Sam here, who starts in P5 in this Grand Prix. He's got Lando Norris alongside him. It's not a great start from Norris here, so Sam's actually going to use the outside line to his advantage going in towards turns 1 and 2. Norris, though, does come back at him with a little bit better on the brakes there, and he just forces his car through. Lando steals the position back again, so no place is gained for Sam on that run. Lap 2 of the Grand Prix now, and we're on the back of our teammate Reese here, and we decide to go down the inside of Reese and also of, I think that's Oliver Behrman that we managed to get past there. So a double overtake going in towards the hairpin, and that's going to be a crucial spot to make some moves in the early phases of the race, especially when they bunch up and brake a little bit slower. That's where we can make some moves here. As we go on board further up the field though, this is Max Verstappen versus Isaac Hadjar here, as Verstappen now trying to go down the inside of 130R on Isaac Hadjar. It's a bold and brave move there from Verstappen. He's going to keep it though around the outside into the chicane, and he does indeed make the overtake stick. But was he behind Hadjar in the DRS detection zone, or was he just in front of him in that detection zone? Looks like like Hadjar was the one that's going to get DRS here, so now it's going to be tricky for Verstappen to defend the position going in towards turns 1 and 2, but actually, Verstappen's got the move done, so he's got enough straight line speed there in his Audi to make the move stick and stay in front. Back on board with ourselves here, we're now attacking Sebastian Vettel in the Renault, and that's exactly what we're going to do. Send another one down the inside into the hairpin, and that's a move done for us. Up at the 13th place now, and these early phases of the Grand Prix is rather promising that we can not only attack drivers, but we can at least stay with them to go on the attack here. But lap 4 now of the Grand Prix, and it's time for an attack here for Oscar Piastri. He lost the lead to Valtteri Bottas at the start of the Grand Prix. He takes it back on lap 4, and that's Oscar Piastri making moves in this Grand Prix. For us, though, a little bit further back here on the end of lap 3 to start lap 4, that's a great run through the final chicane. Great exit as well now with the DRS open here. We've got Antonelli, I think this is, who's having a look here on the Jaguar driver, Daniel Ricciardo. We're going to see if we can try and have a look ourselves here. Going towards turn 1, it's not on that occasion. Then try and go down the inside, almost making contact. We might have actually made a little bit of contact, but we do actually overtake there, Daniel Ricciardo, and that puts us up into 12th place now in this Grand Prix as we rejoin the fight between Bottas and Piastri in this run now, down towards turn 1. Valtteri Bottas retaking the lead then of the Japanese Grand Prix. So these two are going to be making moves with each other as Charles Leclerc makes his way past Lando Norris there. So he now moves up into 3rd place. Further back here, we're looking at Lewis Hamilton here, who's attacking Hadjar in the fights here, down in the lower ends of the points. We're actually in the mix with this lot because Antonelli is behind this fight, and then it is also us there in the mix. That's us there right in the background. But meanwhile, we need to look on board with the two drivers that are actually in combat. That's Hadjar and Hamilton. So Hamilton there gets a decent exit as Verstappen there gets his way past Hülkenberg in the foreground, but in the main picture that we're watching here, Hamilton's going to go to the outside of Hadjar into turns 1 and 2, making the move stick. Great overtake there from Lewis Hamilton, and I believe that's put him up into the points. It has done, yes, he's now in P9 in the Grand Prix. Lap 6 of the Grand Prix, though, we get a tremendous run here versus Antonelli, and now we're going to use that exit that we've got, deploy some of the battery that we'd saved up for a different area of the track to breeze past Antonelli and up into 11th place, and now one position shy of the points. Hadjar is the man that's occupying that points-paying position, and we seem to have enough pace as things stand to go for it here. But now onto lap 7 of the Grand Prix, things are getting interesting here because here comes Charles Leclerc to try and attack Oscar Piastri going in towards turn 1. He doesn't quite make the move stick here, but he's managed to drop Lando Norris, and that's now put Lando Norris in the clutches of Sam, who have tried to attack him in the early phases of the race. Now he's got a run here into 130R to go side by side with Lando Norris, and I think he might just have this one. He does. Great overtake there from Sam to take back P4 in this Grand Prix. He's actually never even lost it, did he? He actually tried to get it and then failed on that specific occasion here. As we're watching on board here with the two McLarens back in DRS now of Valtteri Bottas, but it's Lando Norris here that's going to go down the inside of Sam and retake the position. So the DRS is proving really effective for these drivers now. Lap 11 of the Grand Prix here, and we're still looking at lap 8, sorry, the Grand Prix. I am in P11. I get that one wrong. We're now looking at the back of Hadjar and also Hülkenberg, but we're going to come into the pits here for what is our scheduled first stop of the Grand Prix. You can see Hamilton and Verstappen also pitting as well. So as things stand, we're looking at trying to get the undercut here on both Hadjar and Hülkenberg, which will be important for this Grand Prix. Strategy is indeed going to play a factor with this 2-stop, so if we can get some undercuts in play, it definitely is going to work out for us later on in this race. But as we're coming out now on the medium compound tyres, decent run on the softs, they didn't feel too bad, and now it's time to test out these medium tyres in this race. No use for the hards for me. I'm going on the 2-stopper. Could have potentially tried the 1-stop. It might have paid off, but I felt like the 2-stop was probably the way. I just didn't feel like I had all-out pace around this track to try and make a 1-stop work here. Lap 10 of the Grand Prix, closing it to the back of Hamilton, and instantly feeling a lot of grip on these medium compound tyres. Lewis doesn't have any DRS in front of him. We've gone and set the fastest lap of the race so far, using the battery, using the DRS, and that's a lovely overtake down the inside, and we're up into P8 now, as I believe Vettel and Hülkenberg and Hadjar have pitted now in this race. Back on board at the front of the field once again here, and it's Oscar Piastri versus Valtteri Bottas. You know who's winning in that occasion, the man with the DRS. Bottas is winning that fight there between those two drivers. Lap 12 now of the Grand Prix, and we're on the back here of Max Verstappen in the fight for P7 as things stand at the moment. A little bit wayward on the exit there, but we do have the DRS, we do have the battery deployed, ready to go here down this straight, and now we're going to try and go to the outside, the inside line. Max doesn't allow us to have that, so we're going to go to the outside instead and swoop around it as we now reach, or just about, nearly making contact there with Charles Leclerc, who's interestingly enough actually, is doing a one-stop. Leclerc started this race on the medium tyres. He's now come out on a fresh set of hards, and bad news for us really, as we're following him now, as Hamilton is attacking Verstappen here, is that Charles Leclerc has done his stops now for the race, and he's already come out in front of us, so he's done a pit stop. We've still got another one to go, so at the moment, if he can keep the pace up on those hard compound tyres, we've got absolutely no chance of winning this Grand Prix, because Leclerc is now put himself in the box seat here, because in front of him, I believe is Pierre Gasly that he can fight. As for Hamilton though, he's fighting Verstappen, and he goes to the inside line, gets the job done, and that's a lovely overtake there for Lewis Hamilton in this race. Back on board with Hülkenberg, who was fighting with Hadjar and was in front of Hadjar, missed out at one point, so now he's going to go and try and get Hadjar again. To do that, he needs to overtake Ollie Behrman, which is exactly what he's just done in this Grand Prix. And now we shift a little bit further forwards here towards Sam, who's having a battle here with Valtteri Bottas. Bottas has lost out in this pit stop phase. Not sure what happened, whether he's had a slow stop or something, but he's definitely fallen back here. There goes Charles Leclerc on Pierre Gasly, and he makes that move stick there. So Leclerc now is already on the back of the front runners with a pit stop already done. Everybody else has got to do theirs. In fact, we're doing it now on lap 17 here. Nothing really happened in the second stint for myself on the mediums. We had great pace, overtook Hamilton, overtook Verstappen, but apart from that, there wasn't really much to talk about in terms of catching and passing. I was just doing what I can to stay with Charles Leclerc. If I could stay in his DRS, with Leclerc just having the fresh hard compound tyres, it would have just been more beneficial for me. I tried as much as I could. I did eventually lose DRS, but in the end, it wasn't too bad. We definitely had some pace there that we could utilise now. As we exit the pits there, there's Lando Norris just in front, and we're doing a good job in this race. We're definitely keeping ourselves in the mix for some points, which is something that I don't tend to say here at Suzuka, because it's a track, like I say, that I'm just not very quick at. So right now, things aren't looking too bad, but there's plenty of racing still to go, plenty of laps and plenty of drama that can certainly come its way. So for now, we just need to settle back in and get on with it. So now, as you can see here, using the medium compound tyres, trying to get used to a fresh set of tyres in terms of the grip available, but it seems to be a slower car there up ahead. Maybe somebody that's on an old set of tyres that's definitely slowing the pack up. You can see it's really slowing the pack up here, going towards the hairpin, and that's going to give us an opportunity here to try and make a move here down the around the outside there of Lando Norris. We do just that there. Looks like it's Carlos Sainz on an old set of tyres that's just holding the group up here. They're really struggling with their tyre wear. Sam now is trying to find a way past it because it's costing him crucial race time, but what it's doing for me is giving me opportunities to make overtakes here, because Bottas has been caught up in this. Piastri now has a gap between the rest of the fights here. We're now under pressure actually from Lando Norris going into 130 yards. We've got to defend the position against Lando. Job done there versus Norris. We still keep in front of him in this Grand Prix, but now we can try and set ourselves up for an attack here on Bottas. Back end sliding on the exit of the chicane. Bottas will have DRS. We're going to have it as well, but we've got the slipstream from Bottas because we're much closer to him compared to where the rest of the group is. And then down the inside we go of Valtteri Bottas. That's a great overtake, and that's P4 now in this Grand Prix. And net P4. Charles Leclerc still needs to pit in this Grand Prix, unless he's... No, he doesn't actually need to. So his gap is massive out front. Lap 19 of the Grand Prix, we make a huge error going in towards the chicane. That's going to put us under pressure. We won't have DRS here to use to defend against Valtteri Bottas, so we're going to instantly try and cover it towards the middle of the track, but Bottas has the DRS, goes around the outside. No chance I can fight that one. The Mercedes is just genuinely quicker, and unfortunately for me, I can't defend that one. Great overtake there from Bottas, poor driving from me. Lap 22 of the Grand Prix now, and we're still in DRS range here of Bottas, who's conveniently catching Sam in front. Oh, we get a huge tank slapper off the exit there, off the final chicane on that curb on the exit. Really unsettles this car, and now we're going to be under pressure from Norris down the straight, but we get DRS crucially to defend the position, because if we didn't have that, no chance there will we able to stay in front of Lando Norris. but that's exactly what we've got here. Lap 24 now of the Grand Prix, still in pursuit of Valtteri Bottas, but we get a huge amount of understeer, another huge amount of understeer going all the way through the S section, and then the back end slides because we've got dirt on the tyres, and Lando Norris says thank you very much, I'll have a piece of that, and he gets the job done on ourselves, and we drop to P6. Bad driving from myself there, but the understeer really kicking in this final stint, and that's just cost me badly. But what's going to cost Valtteri Bottas is a chance at the podium if he can't get this overtake done here on Sam on the last lap of the Grand Prix. Bottas takes back the third place on the podium, and he probably deserves that, all things stood. But on the last lap of the Grand Prix, Charles Leclerc is going to cross the line here to win the Japanese Grand Prix and get his first win for McLaren on the board. There's Oscar Piastri to make it a 1-2 finish for the McLaren team here today. As for us though, to be fair, we can't really complain. We started last in this Grand Prix. We crossed the line to finish in P6, and that's definitely a very good result, and one that I'm more than happy to have in all things considered. But for Charles Leclerc though, he managed to make that one-stop strategy work. He started the race on the medium compound tyres, he had great pace, and he didn't have as much tyre wear as anybody else. He then went to the hard tyres, and he made it stick. It was a brilliant strategy from him. He kept the pace up, didn't get held up in traffic, and just got on with it. As for Oscar Piastri, he'll be disappointed with that. He was the one that started on pole. He was the one that was fighting with Valtteri Bottas, and in the end, it's him that suffers with his teammate going a different way on strategy. Bottas, meanwhile, finishes the race in P3. He'll be happy with that. He definitely feels like he probably deserved that podium. Sam will be disappointed to miss out in the final lap of the Grand Prix there against Valtteri Bottas, but the Mercedes was definitely quicker than the Ferrari here today. As for Lando Norris, he'll probably feel again satisfied with that result. Of course, in the last race he started on pole and finished 5th. This time he just finished in 5th. I'm pretty sure he started 5th. It was a decent race from him. He had a good scrap again with Sam at the start of the Grand Prix, but it was just clear that the drivers in front of him were quicker and he was able to keep the others behind. Ultimately, for myself in P6, again, I won't complain with how the race went. As I've said many times already in this video, Suzuka's not a good track for me. I'm always struggling to even get P10 in this race. So this time around, I felt really comfortable, and the race was definitely as maximised as it could have been. I don't think I would have been able to have kept Bottas behind. I think even with the mistake that I made in the chicane when I went deep, Bottas I think was going to pass me anyway, because I don't believe I would have had DRS off of Sam regardless. And then the attack from Lando Norris, again, Norris was still in my DRS and I was still just about keeping DRS with Bottas. I do genuinely think that I would have lost the position to Lando, just not in the format that I did. But I'll take it anyway. Good points on the board. Lewis Hamilton won the first round in Australia. This time around it's only P7, but he did start outside the points, so he's fought his way back up, so you can't complain. Pierre Gasly gets his first points on the board for Red Bull, so Red Bull will be pleased with that, to see him getting some points. Verstappen finishes in P9, and he'll take that Audi's first points of the season as well. Antonelli also does just about gets himself in the points, so again, a little bit of a momentum boost for him. Looking at the second half of the table now, and it's a double BMW just missing out on the points. Isaac Hadjar and George Russell 11th and 12th. Russell started this race quite far down the order. I think he was like 17th or 18th, so he fought back up to P12. If he had a good qualifying, he probably could have got some points. BMW, again, just whiskers away from getting those points. As for Reese, it's only good enough for P13. Just had a difficult weekend. Poor qualifying, left him down in P16, P17, something like that. He's fought up to P13. He's made places, just not a good weekend. Ollie Behrman finishes in 14th for Aston Martin, ahead of Daniel Ricciardo in P15. Then it's the two Renaults of Hülkenberg and Vettel. Carlos Sainz is P18 for Audi, a difficult weekend for him all round. Liam Lawson, a lonely P19 with Alex Albon down there in P20 for Jaguar. It was Oscar Piastri that set the fastest lap of the race with a 1:25.774, and that means nothing because there are no fastest lap points awarded in this series anymore. Now, looking at the Drivers' Championship, it's Charles Leclerc that now takes the lead in the Drivers' Championship for McLaren after 2 rounds of the season. He is ahead of Lewis Hamilton by 9 points, who's on 31 points. Oscar Piastri is third in the championship with 30 points to his name, and he's 10 points behind his teammates. As for us, we drop down to P4 in the championship. We're on 26 points, 14 points off the championship lead with Valtteri Bottas in P5 on 23 points. Lando Norris is then P6 with 20 points, and that is Sam then 7th for Ferrari on 16 points in the end, with Reese down in 8th place, only 6 points to start this season off. Gasly is P9 with 4 points to his name, and then Ollie Behrman is P10 in the championship with 2 points to his tally. The next race for us is going to be the F1 Journey Chinese Grand Prix. And then looking at the Constructors' Championship now, McLaren are leading the way after this 1-2 finish for them. They're on 70 points now, and they overtake Ferrari, who are on 47 points. As for us in Porsche, we're on 32 points, sitting pretty in P3, dropping away obviously from McLaren, who picked up that 1-2 finish. As for Red Bull and Mercedes, they are both tied on 24 points apiece. Nothing you can do to separate them, literally. Same thing with Aston Martin and Audi. The two of them have got 2 points between their names, and Jaguar have got that 1 solitary point, with Renault and BMW yet to score. And of course, it's Audi that move up 2 places. Jaguar and Renault drop down a place apiece between them in the Constructors' Championship. But that is it for the F1 Journey Japanese Grand Prix. Let's get straight into the post-race notebook, see what the teams and drivers had to say after this race. Taking a look at the post-race notebook of the Japanese Grand Prix, it was Charles Leclerc that won the Grand Prix, and he gets his first McLaren win, which is a massive confidence boost for him, but also for the team, as his teammate Oscar Piastri finishes second behind him, and Valtteri Bottas took P3 for Mercedes-Benz on the last lap, overtaking Sam with DRS down the straight in towards turn 1. Now let's having a look then. So Zak Brown has got nothing but praise for both of his drivers after an excellent race weekend. They managed to get pole position and P3 on the grid, and they converted it into a 1-2 finish, with Charles Leclerc doing something different. But Zak Brown has said that the team is gelling extremely well, and that he couldn't be happier to see the team putting in an excellent performance. But with regards to that one-stop strategy, it was Charles Leclerc that opted to do the one-stop himself. But why was the case that he decided to do a one-stop and basically nobody else did? Well, in FP2, Charles Leclerc decided to do long runs on these soft compound tyres, and it just wasn't working. He just didn't like the soft tyres on the long runs, and then when he did a little long run on the hard compound tyres in FP3 before going ahead and doing the qualifying simulations, then he found that the hard tyres was just working much better for him, and he felt like he had a better balance on the harder compounds of tyres. So Charles Leclerc on race day decided to change the strategy that he was going to run and go for the one-stop strategy, and he put it to his team saying that if it goes wrong, this is on me. Well, it went completely right, so it's still on him, but for the right reasons. Valtteri Bottas is frustrated and quite annoyed actually to miss out on the top 2 places and fighting the McLarens. He had a good scrap with them in the first stint, but he just fell away in the second stint due to some traffic issues, and then having to battle his way back up again to get P3. Despite this though, Toto Wolff was happy with Bottas' concentration, noting that he was frustrated throughout the Grand Prix with things not going his way, but he kept his head down and got himself across the line onto the podium. So that is it for the Japanese Grand Prix. Hope you guys have enjoyed the video. If you did, drop it a like and subscribe if you're new around here as well. And I'll catch you guys next time around for the Chinese Grand Prix very, very soon. Take care all guys. Peace.